Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing another airport update of Lexington Bluegrass Airport. You may notice in today's update I actually have a brand new baseboard for it that is a gray color, so hopefully these updates will look a little bit nicer now than just the wood colored board. But there's a lot of news and interesting things that have happened in today's update. But I'm going to save all that for the end and go ahead and get straight into it with our first aircraft right here. This is a Delta Connection CRJ 900. This guy has just arrived in from Detroit and is taxiing over and will be heading back out to Detroit later today. I'm actually going to be flying this route next month on my way to Japan, and I believe that's actually the first time I've announced that on this channel, but basically I'm going to Japan for a school trip next month. Probably not going to do any content on that because it is, of course, a school trip, not a personal trip. So, but yeah, it'll be my first time flying through Detroit, and probably my first time on a CRJ 900, surprisingly. Never been on one of these. But yeah, so this guy came in from Detroit and is going to be heading back out there. Next right here, we have an Allegiant Airbus A320 with sharklets in the newer livery. This guy came in from Orlando Sanford earlier today. That is, of course, Allegiant's most common route. And he's going to be heading out on the new service. This is my first time showing this off in an update, but the brand new service to Las Vegas. It's a really cool new route that I believe I did announce in the last update that was happening, but this is my first time actually showing it off in an update. That is such a cool route, technically a resumption from a route that we had in the early 2010s, but that's really cool. And so yeah, it's going out to Las Vegas, which is also Citrus Aviation's airport. Next right here, just about to push back, we have a Delta Connection Embraer 170. This guy arrived in from Washington Reagan, would have been, I guess, the day before, because this is actually an overnight flight, an overnight stay at the airport. And he's gonna be heading back out to Washington Reagan. He's just about to push back here. But yeah, Washington Reagan, kind of an interesting service, still going strong. It's just Delta's random one, like non-hub route out of such a small airport like Lexington. So I think that's a really cool service and I haven't shown it off in a while. Usually it's on the E170. It's one of the only routes that's kind of consistently on the E170s, but it's been on the E175 for the last few days, but of course, yet to actually get an E175, although we did see that in a future release from Gemini Jets a couple of weeks ago, so it's coming soon, so that's really cool. But for the time being, we just have the E170. As I said, came in from Washington Reagan and is going to be heading back out there. Next to him here, we have a Delta Boeing 737-900ER. This is finally realistic. Delta have been using the 739s full-time, replacing the 738s here. For a long time, we were just getting the 738s and only getting the 9s just on occasion as a sub-in. But now they are the official aircraft flying the route to Atlanta. And it's really cool. That is, I believe, the biggest mainline aircraft we've ever gotten regularly here, other than, of course, aircraft swaps and stuff. But yeah, so these are consistent, and I can finally use this gorgeous NG models Delta 737-900 in an update. So yeah, as I said, this guy came in from Atlanta, and he is just getting bags on board to head back out there. Next up here, we have our only American Eagle aircraft in today's update. That is this CRJ 200. We've been seeing a lot of these coming in. I believe like half of Americans' flights into Lexington right now are on the CRJ 200s. Which is terrible for the passengers, but it is a very cool looking aircraft. So yeah, earlier today, this guy came in from Philadelphia and is going to be heading out to Chicago O'Hare. Next right here, we have a United Express Embraer 170. Usually we've been getting the E175s from United, but occasionally, once again, we'll get the aircraft swaps on the E170s. So today was one of those days. The morning, like the one that comes in at like 8 in the 8 o'clock hour, Chicago O'Hare flight was operated on an E170, and so I decided to throw that in today's update because it is a very pretty aircraft. So yeah, this E170 came in from Chicago earlier today and is going to be heading back out there. And finally, for today's update, we have a Malaysia Airlines Boeing 747-400. This aircraft is of course being used as a placeholder, but the aircraft type is correct. In the past 2 months, we have received not one, but 2 different 747-400s into Lexington, which is absolutely insane. Both of them have been passenger, sort of. The first one was a military charter on an Atlas Boeing 747-400 that came in from Houston, and the second was the Sheikh of Dubai coming in for, I believe, it wasn't the Breeders' Cup, it was like some other kind of horse event. I don't really know, I don't really keep track of it. But he came on his private Boeing 747-400. And he was here for about a week. I got lots of different, I was able to get lots of different shots of that. I'll throw up a picture of that on screen. But yeah, I was able to go see both of those. It's just absolutely insane that we got those because until this year, we had not had a 747 at Lexington since, I want to say like 2011, 2012. It's been a very long time. And the fact that we got 2 in the span of just a few months is absolutely insane. So currently, neither of those aircraft are really available in 1 to 400 scale, but if they ever get released, I will buy those and throw them in a future update. But for the time being, we have this Malaysia Airlines 747-400. So he's getting heavily serviced right now. Came in earlier today from Houston, from Atlas Air, and later today we'll be heading out to London Luton, which were, no, not Luton, Stansted. Always get those confused. Which was where the Sheikh of Dubai headed after taking off from Lexington, I believe as a fuel stop on the way back to Dubai, because a fully loaded 747-400 cannot take off from Lexington's 7,000 foot runway. So yeah, that is an absolutely insane aircraft that came in. And that does conclude all of the aircraft for the update. Getting into some kind of interesting news at the real Lexington Bluegrass Airport. We have had some pretty exciting announcements. First off, we of course have United Express, who are going to be starting service to Denver. Really interesting new route that absolutely surprised me in, I believe, just a few days at the time of recording this video. I believe that's going to be operated on E175s, most likely, I would assume. But it's totally possible that we could get some other aircraft, maybe E170s, CRJ 700s, maybe even Mesa Airlines CRJ 900s would be very cool. But that's a really awesome route, especially considering United have been cutting back a lot out of Lexington in the past few years. So it's nice to see them adding a new route for the first time in a very long time. So yeah, that's starting pretty soon. And another really interesting thing that has happened pretty recently is Bluegrass Airport on their social medias, and they did kind of a presentation on this, have been introducing some possible expansion plans for the future. Geez, I can't talk. And one of the more exciting things those have proposed is terminal expansions. So I'll throw up on the screen some of those different possibilities, different designs for what a future terminal expansion could look like. But I thought that was really interesting because obviously Lexington does not have a huge terminal. I don't think it's an overcrowded terminal. This is just in these expansions are just in like a possible scenario for the future if Lexington did ever receive a lot more traffic. But I still thought that was really cool and thought that was a really unique thing that the airport's planning for the future. They are really planning for the possibility of more expansion here in the near future. So yeah, those are kind of our 2 big news topics for today. Other than also, of course, the 747s coming in. That is absolutely awesome. But yeah, so with that does conclude our update for today. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and if you have time, leave a comment down below telling me your thoughts. I haven't mentioned sub routes in a while, so I mean, if you want a sub route, how that works is basically if you do an airport update of a realistic route that flies into Lexington, or I'm willing to be flexible. If you have a fictional airport, I can probably send an aircraft out there as long as it's not too insane. Just comment that down below, and in my next Lexington update, I will send an aircraft out to your airports, and you send an aircraft in your next airport update out to my airport. So yeah, that's how that works. But yeah, so that's sub routes. I just haven't talked about how those work in a while. So thought I'd let you guys know that I do those. So yeah, that's everything. I hope you guys enjoyed this video once again, and I hope you guys have an absolutely incredible rest of your day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.